Dark Souls 2. Oh, shut up! It was my turn again. I'd got the stupid ball.
Okay, here's the ball. Take the ball.
Right, so we're on the cusp of Dark Souls 2. Welcome to Twin Humanities. I don't know what episode this is, but we're nearly there. It's Tuesday in America. It's Friday in Blighty and Europe. So, do you have your orders in? Are you going for the statue version? Are you going for the black armor? Which of those zillion pre-orders are you going for? Are you tempted for more than one because you want a T-shirt or a graphic novel or any of that guff? Also, there's alternate covers and Lord knows what. So,
I mean, your answer to that question is all of the above, isn't it? Really. Hello, I'm Paddy, by the way. Let's introduce ourselves.
Yeah, this is Twin Humanities. I'm CJ. I'm having internal conversations with myself because I've got the statue version ordered with Dem Amazons and on PS3, and I've got the 360 version ordered on at Zavi for the graphic novel, but part of me's sort of thinking, well, I'll probably play through it on PS3 first because that's the way that I've always done things. The reason that I got the 360 version last time was in part to complete a collection, but also I knew people on 360 that were playing it, that were new to the game. Then I wanted to sort of help them out and give them a bit of advice and do a bit of bro up and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sort of torn as to whether to keep that one there for the sake of the collection and for getting that graphic novel, or to just stick with the PS3 one from the off. There's also the chance though that one of them might arrive before the other one.
That's true.
Because Amazon will arrive on the day. I think Zavi, there's always the chance that it might arrive the day before. So yeah, I'm a bit torn, and even now HMV over here have announced that the Japanese cover is going to be on the front of their Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
There's internal conversations going on with, well, would you rather have an alternate cover than a graphic novel, but you probably end up paying more for it, and I don't know. I've managed to.
I'm gonna try and offer you a branch of reasonableness here to help you make your decision.
The tree of
just
life.
Print it, man.
No, I don't have a printer. I couldn't do that. That's skanky.
Go to a shop, print it.
Yeah.
Make your own.
No, stick in the dump.
Oh, that's a deep cut.
Why do you have games with colours when you can print them on this Hello printer?
So yeah, there's a few sort of internal conversations going on with regards to that. But did you see the unboxing video on IGN?
I will confess that I am trying to stay fairly dark.
Well, Namco released a video with the unboxing of the statue one, which was all kind of lights and special effects, and the IGN one was at least kind of,
hey there, we have this box, and it's got a statue. Let's have a look at the statue, and this is the cloth map, and oh my, that's quite a cloth map.
That's kind of...
Is that American voice?
It's a bit Muppety. But It was kind of a little bit like the bloke in the video, but I don't know. But
Waka waka.
Hey there, piggy. In Lordran, where I live.
Fucking Solaire with a banjo.
Hey there, Artorias.
Anyway, we're going rapidly off track now, but it is curing my depression for the day. But I don't even know where we were on that now. I've completely forgotten.
We were talking about pre-orders and
Oh yeah, and the statue looked nice, but the cloth map was a bit gorgeous, like far nicer than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Very frameable, I'd say. Although I can just imagine sort of thinking, well, I'll iron that before framing it, and then sort of the print of like Drangleic is suddenly forever on the front of my ironing board, transferred over. So yeah, it looked really nice, but it's the same guy who did the reveal video for Dark Souls 2 when he had the producers there, sort of way back in January.
Okay.
January last year? March last year? April? April. I think it might have been April.
Moving on.
Yes. So yeah, there's been some interesting stuff with regards to Souls, with kind of, which may rattle a few cages, but hopefully will allow people to think out of the box and challenge a few perceptions.
Well, I've found some news as well, which may or may not be the same as your news. But, you know, news is news.
Okay, do you want to impart, or
I'll start, because I found some mechanical stuff that was very recently linked up from Namco Bandai's Twitter on a website called fextralife.com. That's extra life, but with an F on the front. Fextra Life.
I see what they did.
Yeah. And one of the guys from there got to go along and, you know, chat to some of the QA guys and ask them some mechanical questions about Dark Souls 2. So there's going to be no spoilery, you know, story spoiler stuff. This is just pure mechanics. And something rather interesting I was reading is about the summoning range. So it's summoning range and invasion range, I believe. It seems to be based on a combination of two things now. The summoning range and the amount of souls acquired by your character. So as you have like less souls, your range is going to be a bit smaller, or a bit wider. And as you get more and more souls, your summoning range grows up. So you can't just hang out at low levels ganking people, because eventually you'll be forced out of that sort of area because you'll have too many souls. You won't be able to gank level 1 players.
Yeah.
Which seems to kind of be like the way of stopping the Berg invasions, if you will. Which I think that's quite interesting. I like that, because many times when ourselves, you know, both of us the other night even, we were hanging around in the Berg, weren't we? Just level 1, just helping guys out, and a couple of times.
You say that. It was hanging around the Berg, getting extra Humanities, so I could then take my soul level 1 character back to Unstein and Smo. And no, it wasn't Unstein and Smo, was
Sif,
it?
Wasn't it?
It was Sif, because somebody kept dying.
It was a mistake. Level 1's hard, dude. But yeah, we hung about there, and the amount of times we were invaded by someone who'd just turn up, straight for the host, gank dead, moving on. And that's, you know, less fun. And again, like, some of the co-op people that were being, you know, invited in, they turn up, they look like some sort of magical knight from the future, and they just scream off through the level, and the next time you see them is standing at the fog door, and everything's dead. And I'd like to see that cut back, and this news thing seems to be a cool way of cutting that back, because it means, because I like to help people when I get summoned. I like to walk around with them, do the level with them, you know, point out things they might have missed and help. I don't want to run off, do the level for them, and then they just kind of walk through, because it takes some of the victory away, I find.
Onward, Christian soul. You've got a good heart.
Yeah, man, it's about being a friend, not just doing it for them. You know, there's no victory in that.
You've got a good heart. Don't let them take it from you.
But that also, just as a side note, our time hanging about, I was summoned into the world of the coolest named guy, and the guy's name was Mom, Dad, I'm Gay.
It's but wasn't the
Amazing, and the G was lowercase.
Yeah.
Every other letter was capitalised, like Mom and Dad were capitalised properly, and just the gay was lowercase. It was wonderful, and I have no idea why he had that username, but it made me laugh. So, well done, Mum, Dad, I'm Gay. Good job. Seal of approval. But moving on as well. Some other mechanical stuff. There's going to be an arena of some sort, available right at the start, at launch, and very, very accessible early on for some PvP, which is kind of cool. All weapons are viable now, so you can play through the whole game with a cestus if you want. So each weapon is going to be, and not just, viable to a crazy person, viable to a normal player. What else have we got here? I've got a few notes written down here. New Game Plus. There may very well be brand new enemies in New Game Plus.
Yeah, I'd heard that.
Yeah, brand new enemies, harder enemies, and new loot as well. So completely new items that don't exist until you hit New Game Plus.
Oh, that's cool.
And players on New Game Plus will not be able to play with players who have not reached New Game Plus or above. Once you hit New Game Plus, you can team with a plus guy. But it's to stop you bringing in overpowered, super gear into people's first playthroughs. There's a couple of items which I don't actually want to talk about because they do look a little spoilery, but they do look pretty damn fun.
Yeah,
and I don't want to spoil people because they look brilliant. But put it this way, PvP is going to be incredibly different at New Game Plus.
I think Sunlight Blade. It sounds like he's going to have a whale of a time.
He's going to be amazing. And one more thing before we move on from my mechanics news. Mechanics news.
Paddy's Garage. You have a car. Do you like Dark Souls? Bring it to Paddy's Garage. We'll paint your car orange for free to match the owner's hair.
We'll apply a beard to your bumper. If you join the Dragon Covenant, it doesn't say what it's called. It just says a Dragon Covenant, which there's loads of dragons in this one, isn't there? Of course, there'd be a Dragon Covenant. You will obtain a Dragon Eye that will allow you to see the summoning signs of other members. Even after leaving this Covenant, you will still be able to see them.
How weird.
Which is kind of cool. It means you're not stuck with that Covenant forever. You can still see those poor Dragon Bros that are just trying to earn scales, bless them. To get their flame faces from Dark Souls 1. And just who was a Dragon Bro? Who joined the Dragon Covenant? Did anyone? I didn't. I saw it and ran away. I never saw dragons basically ever.
I upgraded the dragon mask to a certain, I think probably past the first sort of hurdle, but not to the second, because it didn't seem like there were a lot of dragon scales knocking around.
But this seems to be a way of, again, just curbing that to make it easier. As well, it seems like you'd heard about you can wear a ring that will allow you to co-op better with your friends by believing in the same god. Sounds like you can buy that really early. Really, like first shop early. And apparently it's not that expensive.
Oh, cool.
Find out what the gods are, everybody, and coordinate now. Because, it looks like you're not going to have to, go into a stupid place to go and find that. It looks like they're just giving it to you. They want you to have it. Thanks, Namco.
Well, thanks from.
And all of them. Thank you to everyone involved, because that's a good choice. And I think that's it. I think that sums up Mechanics News.
Paddy's Garage. Anyway, right, so delving into Dark Souls news.
Dark Souls news.
Dark Souls news.
Dark Souls news.
Now
in the morning.
Oh, stop.
On the radio.
So, Matt Lees, the video creator, formerly a video gamer, did some amazing Dragon's Dogma videos that got me into the game. And superb Pantsman runs. On
the very excellent Conferences Abridged videos as well.
Yeah, the Pants Man's runs of Demons and Dark Souls, sort of tying into them Souls, is forging a new path in part via Patreon. One of his new videos is Dark Souls 2 reviews worth worrying about. And it's close on half an hour. It's a really good watch with regards to questions as to whether YouTubers, some of which earn at least a portion of their living from the channel, would risk alienating their audience by disliking the new game, and of it being healthy to question the likes of Epic Name Bro's stance now he's involved with the official guide. On the other side of things as well, of reviewers unfamiliar with the game coming on board and potentially not getting it, or being in fear of alienating themselves and their reputation against an established and sort of passionate fan base, I guess. And even of those reviewers fitting their opinion into the feel of a particular site. So there's a lot of questioning there. Some you might agree with, others not. But it's real food for thought, and I think it's on the one hand, I think it's worth a look, but I think it's healthy to question the things that are around you, and even if it's thoughts that you haven't sort of considered before. I mean, I
was thinking about this the other day. It's because I mean, us. You've got the big popular YouTubers. You've got your Varty. You've got your Epic Name Bro. You've got your Sunlight Blade. If they don't like it, are they gonna say so?
Well, it's
strange, isn't it? Because that's your whole fan base, really, isn't it? I mean, what if there's things you don't like? You do, like you say, you run the risk of alienating your whole fan base, and that's tricky.
Yeah, well, there's a piece underneath it. If you go to patreon.com/MattLees, you can access the YouTube video, but also there's a comment section underneath. And Rurikon put a piece underneath saying that the creators, when that first Edge video came out, and there was the misconception that the game was seemingly going to be streamlined, that they were going for a mainstream audience, that all of these things that we loved were going to be
worrying sounding words.
Yeah, we're going to be planed and shaped to bring other people in. And, we've often sort of stood our ground with regards to we don't want easy mode in there, but I think we've always said that a little extra accessibility wouldn't hurt the game. Explaining the likes of Humanity and a few of the a few of the rudimentary
poise, for instance, just to pick one out of the hat.
Yeah, just a few of the rudimentary ideas before letting the game sort of run on. But I think that Rurikon was basically saying when that the whole piece about accessibility or the streamlining of the game, the mainstreaming of the game happened, that creators were up in arms about it and were ready to throw their arms up about it and sort of spoke passionately against it, that they didn't want this game that they loved being affected by it. So it's interesting. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to change your own point of view, but I think it's an important watch. I think Matt Lees is very passionate about Dark Souls, and just give it a watch and see where the land lies, and leave a comment. So yeah, I mean, it's not a charge him with your pitchforks sort of moment. It's healthy to question the things that you love and those around you. So
that's what I'm worried about. Being quite a big fan, if I get a review copy, I'm worried about how what's the word? How objective I can be.
Yeah.
Because obviously you have to try and be objective when you review a product like this. You have to review it for everyone, not just for you. But I can't, there's a 10 in my head already. And I know for a fact that is a really, really bad thing to have. And it's really unhealthy, and you shouldn't know that the game is going to get a 10 before you play it. But it's sitting there, and it's it's going to have to do something pretty damn stupid to shake that.
I'm
worried myself. I'm worried that I'm going to rank it as a 10, even if it isn't as good as Dark Souls 1. Touch wood, God, please no.
Well, going back to the Epic Name Bro stuff. I mean, I'd say he was. I don't know but probably the first truly prominent member of the community for me personally. You know, it was after I'd done my first playthrough that I started watching his playthrough videos, and I understood a lot more about summoning, and you know, then he touched into a few of the lore videos, and I really enjoyed his opinions, and even on the recent sort of crushing battle chats when he's been, you know, chatting all kinds of everything, I've still enjoyed his company. So when he said that Dark Souls 2 was better than Dark Souls, there was a degree of, oh my god. And then it was brought up. And I think Matt Lees was attacked a bit on Twitter for mentioning that once you are being paid by the company, then your opinion has to be put into question, because you're taking money from that company. You're already invested. You're already involved. So there was the counter of that was again given on Twitter, where it's, you know, this is a trusted member of the community, but it's there. I don't think it's unhealthy to question it. We're all gonna have kind of proof of the pudding at the end of, well, at some point of next week anyway. So the question marks are going to be turned into exclamation marks, depending on what we all feel. And I know some people are going to dislike the changes, some people are going to like them, but that's generally sequels anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very true.
But Epic Name Bro said what he said. Varty's enjoyed it, and sort of other people that have got their hands on it are really, really loving it. Which that spread across the board gets me excited. But
and I've not heard of a place that didn't like it yet.
But I think
that might just be due to selective YouTube watching.
I think if there are channels that come out and say that they don't like it, or they don't like it as much as Dark Souls, in all honesty, I'll probably be as interested to see their playthroughs and see them talk about why they don't like it, or why for them it doesn't work, or the contrast against the original Dark Souls. But we kind of had that a little bit between Demons and Dark as well.
Very true.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, just because you know, we are a close-knit community. I genuinely love this community, and I like the fact that that the fans are so passionate and so helpful towards one another. The creative community is really close. But just because someone has a difference of opinion with that doesn't mean we break the hug.
We're all in it together.
Yeah, I don't mean it. I don't mean it in a trite way at all. I mean, all views are important, and just because someone disagrees with you isn't a problem. Just because somebody doesn't like something that you like is fine. Have a conversation with them. Find out sort of what it is that they don't like, and sort of chime in with your own stuff, but not aggressively. But just say why you enjoy it. You don't have to. You don't have to find any common ground other than the fact that, oh, you think it's that way, you think it's that way, and you've expanded your circle of, I don't know, viewpoint, I guess. So yeah, I'm curious to see how the community moves with this, and I think it's a really interesting video to watch. So I'd definitely have a look at that. Like I say, it's patreon.com Matt Lees, that's MATTLEES. And if you're also there, there's a funny video about finding the coconut, then finding the mango in Dark Souls.
Oh, yes, the coconut, yes.
Which a few people seem to have really taken the wrong way.
Yeah.
Which is a bit bizarre. But have a look. And leave a comment underneath as well.
I will.
So yeah, this then sort of bounces, interestingly, into Varty. Because Varty Video put up a video answering viewer questions about Dark Souls 2 and appeared for the first time in the guise of a staggeringly handsome man.
I saw that.
This could actually be Varty or special effects. I prefer Witchcraft. I think that's the only the only true answer.
I think it's what you think Solaire. It's like Solaire seeing his face, like, wow, praise the sun.
It is a little like if you watch anime and you actually see one of the voice actors speaking in the real world. In that case, it's just like your head's processing one version, and your eyes are processing another version. It's just like you're trying to sellotape them together loosely while it wriggles. It's like trying to sellotape a frog, of which that was never proved in court. But yeah, he's put up some new videos of late. There's been a 5 favourite things about Dark Souls, 5 ways that Dark Souls 2 would surprise you. Also, why Dark Souls is for everyone. Now, sort of tying into the Matt Lee's piece a little, Varty did a vid for Namco. He was asked by Namco to do a vid for GameStop. It's easy to sort of flex the Roger Moore eyebrow towards the corporate, but he's sort of come out and said that he didn't take payment for it, and has been honest about its origins. Furthermore, surely a video from a prominent creator for a big site like GameStop will not only allay fears that the game might not be for new players, but also welcomes them into a community in part as well. Or, on the other side of that, is this going a step beyond the fan base and kind of working with the suits?
That's a tricky one. That is a tricky one because, I mean, you tend to see the guys that tend to get the deals, the licensing kind of deals like that, they're your FIFA guys, aren't they? Mm-hmm. I mean, they're your, what's his face, KSI, that dick. People like that seem to get the corporate gigs because they play the games that are the popular ones. You Call of Duty people, you know, they seem to get the corporate kind of, yeah, so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. But I'm not sure. I can't take GameStop, and I can't take Varty, and I can't reconcile them. I can't make them fit together in my head.
Yeah, but
it's strange. I can't see it like.
But we've often said that that there's that sort of ridiculous bullet point on Dark Souls, which is that it's brutally difficult, right? And there must be a degree of people that maybe look at it in the same way as maybe I prejudge Ninja Gaiden, and just think like, I will be arse at this. and sort of, you know, Varty's a very calming voice in himself. He's very articulate, very passionate about the game.
Totally.
If there's anyone that you want to be gluing onto a page for Dark Souls on a massive site that will bring people to the game that might not have looked at it before. I mean, we've said before that there's been when the games dropped in sales on Xbox, on Steam and stuff like that, people have gone, oh, I'll pick it up. Or if there's been a time when there's not a lot out and somebody's thinking, yeah, I'll give that a go, that's cheap enough, and they found they're in, then that's great. And if those people are then expanding a community and are finding, because it's far, far bigger than it was when Dark Souls launched.
Oh, yeah, like the stakes are higher than they've ever been. Like, this is big.
But even beyond the game's launch itself, we've got a ton of creators that are producing some really passionate and involved work. And surely, if somebody's coming to the game and, you know, maybe, well, from my time with the preview, I thought that it was a little more accessible in of itself from the start. It explained a lot more of its mechanics without taking away the explicit sort of Dark Souls experience. But if then, though, if some people are struggling, if they then leap onto the vids and they see maybe a bit about lore, or they see a little playthrough and they go, oh, I could use that weapon, or well, I just think it's exciting to glue new people onto the fan base. And what if that was us? If you were confronted with that, what would you do? Because you can always put a skeptical spin on things. You can always put a skeptical spin on things. But if you go into it with the right frame of mind and the right heart, and you I mean, he said that he's not taking any payment for it. He's been very, very forthcoming on the video. Surely that's got to be a good thing, and people will always hiss about stuff.
But if you're, if he's being honest and open, and
well, this
not
is
suckling from the teat.
Well, this is what comes around to questioning stuff is healthy in of itself. But I think if the answers are there before you and they're forthcoming, then it's easier to choose a side, maybe. Because I remember,
it's clearer. There's less fog around things.
I mean, I remember there was a point on Twitter where he put up a vid for the Black Armor edition and was worried really quickly that it came across too much like an advert and re-edited it. And in this case, I could see his enthusiasm that the Black Armor edition was selling out, and wanted to give people that nudge to, well, if you do want it, you get the soundtrack and blah blah blah. Yet it did come across as an ad as well. And should someone go into something knowing that the skeptics might claw at it, even if the best intentions are behind it? And
let's be fair, this is the internet.
Yeah,
that's going to happen.
I fear that if people don't go with their heart and don't go with their heart and the sleeve and the best intentions, that what you get in return is just someone nullifying themselves and not putting anything out at all. And especially with Varty's output as well. I mean, he started out making these incredibly passionate and intricate lore videos, and they were brilliant. They enhanced my experience and love of the game.
I still watch those from time to time when you're thinking about Tarkus. Let's look about Tarkus, and picking one out and watching them back, and
sometimes it's just a nugget or a kernel that will stick in your head anew and will then spin you off into countless other thoughts, or perhaps you'll disagree with something in there because. Often the joy of Dark Souls is and the lore is that these are almost Chinese whispers in a way. And I've seen stuff on other channels where I've gone, yeah, I agree with that, or I don't agree with that, or I've never thought of it that way. But that's what makes it exciting to watch them. And I get the feeling these last few months that Barty's sort of really ready to go with new stuff. Really ready to go with new stuff. And I'm really curious to see what he comes out of the gate with. I think there's the potential for Let's Plays. I think he said recently, and also I don't know how soon is right to start watching lore stuff.
Okay, here's my opinion on that. I've mulled over this a lot. Lore stuff, gameplay, Let's Play videos. I'm of the very firm opinion, after lots of deep soul searching, I'm of the very...
Good fun.
See what I did there? The very, very firm opinion that you probably shouldn't watch any lore videos or gameplay videos until you've beaten it. Because, and I'll tell you for why. In the first Dark Souls, you learn more about the characters. They become more fleshed out. Things become more interesting as you go on. You won't know everything about them the first time you meet them. Like, you're not going to meet, oh, this is so-and-so, they're a thief. And that's all you'll find out. Like, these characters are nuanced. They have plot lines. They have stories. And I wouldn't want anyone to even completely innocently, to accidentally rob themselves of a cool discovery. Sigmire, for instance.
Yeah, I mean, but even with regard to that, I'd played that game no end of times, and we were going through our first playthrough here. That Petrus of Thurland moment,
exactly.
Honest to God, and I'd not seen that. You told me about it, and it just I hate him so much with his stupid.
But you never knew, did you?
I had no idea.
And then when you follow the sort of the quest line the way they tell you to, and it's like, oh my God, you're my God. And that's what I want. I wouldn't want anyone to spoil that for themselves. I'd like people to, because that was a wonderful little moment we had there, wasn't it?
Well, does this mean on the other side of things that, I don't know, on the one hand, we're going to have this incredible buffer zone so that when sort of we have completed the game, we can jump into a ton of lore. That it's already going to be prepared, it's going to be ready, and that's, it's going to be rather sumptuous to nom down upon. But I don't know, from the off, there is that. I think there's something about a degree of solitude to that first playthrough.
Yeah, a sort of a mystery, an unfurling mystery.
Yeah, because all of the stuff that has become the crutch in the modern day, with like, oh, let's co-op, bro, and all that sort of stuff, just wasn't there in the first playthrough for me. It was grinding. It was sort of becoming a tank, getting a shield like a fire door, and just making my way through. It's going to be exciting to see the extra folks that are there, and obviously we've got servers now and stuff, and see how the new mechanics work out. But
I think there's going to be summon signs all up in there everywhere.
But I have no idea how Twin Humanities is going to work at that point. I think it's probably going to be us starting the game and discussing the game, and then stopping at a certain point. Or but then again, you can probably do that with the Let's Plays as well, if you want sort of a bit of food for thought. But
I mean, I would advise anyone listening. I love you listening to our show. I love that you engage with us so well, and I love the community. But if you're going to watch a video of something, try and play it first and then watch the video. Mm-hmm. But I think just don't rob yourself of anything, because.
Well, backing up the kind of GameStop stuff. If someone is looking at that video, or has looked at that video that Varty did for them on the GameStop site, doesn't buy it day one, then perhaps follows Varty to YouTube, starts looking at some of those videos and going, oh god, that looks really good, and then maybe jumps to one of the lore videos and goes, wow, this is pretty deep. But for those people that aren't sure, there's then that extra backup that they can almost extend. The invitation's almost extended and going, oh look, there's this.
I think a new player would probably get more out of it, just because I don't think you're going to remember as much as a new player. Whereas one of us, the crazy people, they're going to pore over every single detail. Look at that! 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 And I just want to sort of have it. I want to sort of have it as our first experience. And later in the day, further on, why not? Go for it. I mean, I played Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 1 a bit late compared to the rest of the world. And by that point, things like the Archers of Anor Londo, I already knew about those. I already knew about the Capra Demon. I knew a few things, and it didn't dull them, but it would have been nice to, just have that magic just happen. And man, the internet's going to be a really difficult place to be in the next few weeks.
It's going to be as exciting as it is daunting, and sort of the judging a book by its cover thing is going to be sort of like, can I venture into this yet? Or just holding on to the remote and sort of having a certain point where it's like, nope.
Yeah.
Just hitting the back button.
I did, our mutual friend, friend of the show, Sean McElroy, community manager over at Polygon, shout out, you're cool. He invited me to a Dark Souls Facebook group. Okay, cool, cool, be a bit of hype. Within 2 days, one of the videos was like, spoilers, Dark Souls 2 boss closed, hide from feed, unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Just completely burn the earth until I've beaten it, and then I'll come back.
We had a link on the Twin Humanities Twitter yesterday with someone saying that there's one person that's putting up Dark Souls 2 playthrough videos on YouTube already.
Which is highly embargoed.
Yeah, but it's also a bit shit.
Why would you do that? What thing is, that's going to happen. I think playthroughs are going to start sprouting up like no one's business.
Yeah, and after Tuesday, it's
the new hotness, isn't it?
It's not really going to be an issue, but yeah, this, I mean, sort of tying into some of this stuff again is that in various pieces I've seen, Namco US seem to have treated the US creators really well. The access to the game early, interviews, like actually getting them all in a room as well, which is it looks pretty exciting. as well as giving them early copies of the game. Now they appear to be much more open than I've seen a company with a fan base before, which is really to be applauded. And our own dealings with a member of Namco US in particular have been above and beyond. I saw a tweet from somebody that follows 20 Humanities of a creator saying that they were worried about the bigger sites getting access to the game before everybody else, rather than it being a level playing field from the off, which is another little bit of food for thought in there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen a couple of the larger sites I know have it already, and they have had it for a little while. And it's kind of like really? You're giving it to them? Why can't we have it? You know? Like, what? Give it to us, please. Please now. Knowing that someone has it and you don't is the worst feeling.
I'm ready for the game arriving from Amazon on Friday, but I'm aware that the delivery vans work in different ways sort of here. That the post office will generally come around between about 9:30 and 10:30 a.m. DHL will come around about noontime, so will Yodel.
Yodel.
There's My Hermes, where a man will turn up in a battered old van who looks like he would be happier shepherding thieving urchins around 1800s London.
Hang on, your My Hermes guy has a van? Mine has a car.
Yours comes with with sort of on a horse.
A battered old Sierra.
Yeah, just goes a view hello, and then throws things into your garden. And then there's CityLink who use incredible technology to hide around the corner and wait for the point where you actually give up and go for a poo. Yeah. To then ring your doorbell. So
they've got these little scanners that can sense the toilet door opening.
I'm just wondering if Amazon have it trackable on Friday, if I'll essentially just be like looking at a screen, watching a little dot go through, like I'm playing on a TRS-80.
Your refresh button on your machine, your F5 key might come off your keyboard.
I don't know. But it's one of those as well where you're waiting for a package to come through and you're sort of sitting by the window like a dog that's waiting for a parent to come home, just like looking, and anything that sounds a little bit like going past you, like, is that it? Is that a van? Is that
my lorry?
Yeah. So is that my lorry? That's the title of the episode.
Is that my lorry?
Yeah. So
it's going to be an agonising week. I mean, I have. I don't know about you, but I have booked the launch week off.
I have the week off.
Yeah. Let's hope Friday comes quickly.
That was possibly a mistake because the game doesn't come out till Friday.
Yeah. I same thing. I realised that too.
On the other side of it, it is a week off work, and I need a week off work because I haven't had a week off work since October, and I'm flagging and may well kill somebody, particularly someone that's posh in my continual series of posh people versus retail. But yes. Anyway,
moving on.
Boinging on to the brilliant, flourishing, and absolutely startling Bonfire Side Chat. I had been over there for a little while, and they've got 2 parts of a Kingsfield 4 run at the minute.
I think the 3rd may have just gone up.
Oh, cool. Because I picked that up after trying to track that down for a long time, and it is hard as balls.
It's hard first person, isn't it?
It is, but this the whole kind of the way that you're used to first person games moving now. Yeah. It's not the way that moved.
Oh.
And it's all sort of use the knuckle buttons to rotate around, and it's quite old school. But I really enjoyed the first 2 parts of that. Plus, they're doing a 2-parter, or they've done a 2-parter detailing the manga Berserk and its influences on other media, including Dark Souls.
Yeah, I saw something about that. I haven't listened to it in a while. I've still got the entire run of Demon Souls to listen to at some point because I binged the Dark Souls stuff they did. Just flat out binged it in a straight go over about 3 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And I needed a bit of a breather.
I think you owe Colin Gary an apology for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I listened too hard, too fast. I loved it, but I burned out.
I felt too hard, too fast.
We loved to. It was the candle that burned twice as bright, but half as long.
Too hard, too fast sounds like a porno movie of Fast and the Furious.
Oh.
Anyway,
Too hard, too furious.
The connotation of that, but I've seen the first Berserk movie, the recent one.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been really curious about the manga because the creator's been writing and drawing it for 23 years.
I saw
Something bonkers like that. And I know that I know from the discussion that one piece of armor and a cover in particular is an influence on Artorias.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some really cool armor from the series in Dragon's Dogma as well. But it's a really great listen, and it sort of shepherded me to order the first sort of manga as well. So yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what those gents do with Dark Souls 2 as well.
Yeah, we're moving with absolutely no segue whatsoever because I couldn't make this one work. I started doing one last run of Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm.
One last run because my shield only run, frankly, is getting nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's too hard. It's too hard. I enjoy it hard, but it's just too much for me. I don't have the patience to sit there battering standard zombies 9 times with a shield. Standard undead, even leveled up to about level 30 or 40 with a pretty decent shield. It just takes too long.
The things that we do within the drift between previous game and new game.
Absolutely. I mean, the only way I could up my damage output was to go find the more offensive shield, and the easiest offensive shield to find in the early game is the goddamn bone wheel skeletons in the catacombs, and frankly, I don't think I could stand that. Fighting those with just a shield.
No.
I don't think I could actually do it and stay sane.
Isn't there Kirk's shield? Isn't that?
You've got to get all the way through his Isolith.
Oh yeah, you've got to get to an Isolith drop.
I think you've got to get it's an Isolith. You've got to get all the way through. I don't think it's a random one. You have to get it later. Oh no! I think the other one is the spike shield you get off Sigmire. And again, by the time I get there, it's too late. I'll have already gone mad. So I decided to shelve that run and put that one away for a bit. And I decided to try a concept called an ultimate run, which I've not seen on the internet. It must exist somewhere, but I couldn't find what the real name is. So if there is a real name for this kind of run, please let me know, because I think I'm making up something new, and I'm probably not. The idea for an ultimate run was picking a class at the start, and then only using your starting gear that you get from the asylum. So the first set of armor you get, the first sword, the first shield, the first catalyst, the first pyramid, whatever you may get. And those are the only weapons and the only armor you're allowed. You can level it up however you want, you can use whatever items you want, but those are the only bits of kit you're allowed to wear. To the extent that I've been feeding every single other item to Fremd.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a really cool idea. That's better than your fucking shield run.
Yeah, the shield run was good at the start and just got done quickly. But it's another one of these cool, weird little runs that's very doable until you hit a point that makes you think, how am I going to do that? I chose the Wanderer. Because I always played a kind of nippy sword and board guy, and I thought, I'll do one more run as my sword and board, one more run as my cool Wanderer guy. And I always thought the Wanderer gear looked cool as well. I thought I'll do them on, Ultimate Wanderer. And it's all going pretty well until you get Sens. And you realise just how hard those snake men hit. And without, decent armour and only rolling, like the first couple, the first two you meet, when you first hit the Sens, I died to those far more times than I care to admit to. And I was ashamed of myself. Like, utterly ashamed of myself, because I know I'm better. Because you're stuck with your standard gear, the Wanderer starts with a leather shield, which is it has like 80% physical damage. So even with your shield up, you're taking damage. So the only way to
those basts do hit hard. It has to be said.
Yeah, and the only way to reliably block them is to either roll out the way on those little stupid thin platforms, or parry. And that's hit or miss if that works or not as well. Like, you can smack it, but if you cock your parry up, that's half your health gone.
Well, I was watching some more from CVG. Has been doing a Dark Souls run, and I watched him because my playthrough style is very much sort of slowly catchy monkey. And I saw him run through Tomb of the Giants in about 90 seconds. And I was having kittens. There was a part of me that was going like, logic is dissolving!
How is this passable?
Yeah, so yeah, it's
speaking
weird.
of Tomb of the Giants, that's an interesting thing that raises up in I'm calling it an ultimate run. Because you're only allowed the gear that you have at the start, can't use a Skull Lantern, motherfucker. You can't have a Sunlight Maggot, motherfucker. The only way of having light there is, I guess, if you pick a cleric.
So where did you hear about this run?
I just made it up. I just thought, that's a cool idea, I'll try that. And I'm
Everything
sure
is explained.
It must
it's
exist.
The work of a fool, man.
I thought, what happens if I can't have anything else? I think I was just sort of musing over the starting gear, and I thought, what if I could, I wonder. And I thought, I'm not going to pick Pyromancer, because that's basically easy mode, I think. Because, like many people, I rely far too heavily on the Pyromancy. Far too heavily. So I thought, I'll pick the sword and board, but you have 0 ranged options. It's much like the two-handed run I did. You have 0 range. And I've already had a couple of absolute cacking it moments, where areas I'd usually just shoot the guys out, I've had to kind of run into. There's a point in the catacombs where there's a necromancer, one of the pyromancer guys, up on a ledge quite high, and you can sort of see him, but you don't know how to get to him. And the last couple of runs, I've just either shot him or ignored him and ran past. But I thought, well, I'm gonna go kill him. I wonder where it was, and I could have found a bit of the catacombs that I don't usually go to, because there's a lot of it you can skip a fair bit of the catacombs if you're canny. I thought, there's a little side passage here, so I sort of started walking up it nice and steady, nice and careful, enjoying myself. And one of the giant skeletons jumps out of the wall. I'd forgotten about that. And it was like a fresh hell all over again, because I had a crappy divine +2 scimitar, piss all shield, piss all armor. I think I just ran. I turned around and just ran away. And it was amazing how it forces you to do, to go to passages you wouldn't normally go to, or take routes you wouldn't do. I mean, again, the archers and Orlando, I haven't got a fucking clue how I'm going to do that. With a big old sodding great shield, you can get through it. Like with the one bro, we shielded up, poised up and ran for it. I don't have any poise.
We did run like mofos, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any poise or range. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I'm looking forward to trying. It's going to be a very long-winded evening, but it can be beaten.
This is all in the run-up to Friday.
Yeah, all in the run to Friday. But we're nearly there. And sorry, excuse me.
People coming into a house with loots and liars and laying baskets of bread at your feet. Again.
If only. Man, I could really go for a basket of bread right now.
Moving on. Right. I have no segue.
I didn't have anything there. I just thought I might go put some posts on in a minute.
So yeah, I went onto a channel that I'd not been onto before, which I've been telling myself I was going to, but finally got round to it when I went on to Terramantis YouTube channel, and it's absolutely fabulous. I've previously seen his collaborations with Dave Klein. I really enjoyed them. So it's a bit long. It's a bit daft that it's sort of taken me this long to get to his YouTube channel. But superb mix of comedy, Dark Souls fiction, the Legends of Lordaeron, like really detailed story-based work, inhabiting the tale of a character, delivered like with a real passion, as if he's the character and he's living it. And there's a great recent Mega Man edition
Yeah.
with character animations by Mitch Taylor, which is great. But there's videos with 10 things that you don't know about Dark Souls and stuff.
Just to interject, the Mega Man one, I've seen that.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
With one of the characters being Woman Man.
Yeah, but seriously,
I nearly fell off my chair.
seriously, delve into more of those videos because there's some really affecting ones. So the story of sort of Havel the Rock, Havel's journal, is absolutely superb, like really really good. But even on the top 10 videos, he's sort of aware that there's been other top 10 videos, and he was just like, so that Chester, he's got a sweeping attack, and he's like, there's a real sort of piss take towards the start, and then he really hits you with some that you might not have thought about, or it's a really really great channel. So I'd call it essential, to be honest. So bookmark that mofo, yo.
Keeping the YouTube train going, there were 2 videos I saw. Again, two animation videos I saw this week that made me laugh. The first one is from Veselikov. If you watch Varty, and you remember there was a music, a band did a song.
I remember that. I can't think what it's called now, but I was singing that in my head for ages.
Yeah, that one. Anyway, the animations done by that were done by a chap called Veselikov, Veselkov, and he has made recently a "What if Dark Souls was a sort of 80s cartoon?" And the undead soldiers have laser guns.
Is it like big G.I. Joe? Is it?
If you think Far Cry Blood Dragon, think that exact kind of videotape aesthetic, and it's about 1.5 minutes, and it's perfect. It's completely the least canon thing you have ever seen.
I've seen that come up on a few places and just haven't got around to clicking on it yet, so I'm going to have to.
It's a funny 1.5 minutes. It's really, 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 really funny. And he said if he gets enough likes, we might get more of that. And I love some cheesy 80s crap.
I'll have to check that out.
And the other video I've seen this week, which again, very, very funny, very, 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 very good, well animated as well. It's by a YouTuber called Plague of Grapes. Plague of Grapes. He does a lot of animations for the Two Best Friends Play channel guys on YouTube.
Yeah, you're a big fan, aren't you?
I really like them. They're very, very funny, very genuine guys. They're very entertaining. But he does a lot of their animations, and he did a Dark Souls plot one, where he basically picked apart the priest, the backstory stuff to it, as far as the guys finding the first flame and things that happened in Ulasil, but in a cool way. So you've got Manus and Frampt both sitting there, and it all starts going wrong, and the Witch of Izalith, I'm going to put my soul in the flame. I don't think you should do that. Boom! And then Frampt goes, I'm going to go find some more undead guys to throw in that fire, and just sort of walks off. And you see Karth turn up at Ulasil going, hey, you know what you guys need? Feed off the soul of Manus. Cut to despair and fighting and panic. And then it sort of fast forwards a bit further to the full kick to New Londo before it went down. It's, hey, you know what you guys need? To feed off the humanity of humans. Cut to dark wraiths and ghosts going, ah! It's very, very funny.
And
it's got Artorias with a tiny puppy Sif. With Artorias going, hey, look at this puppy. And just a little tiny, adorable little barking Sif. It's great. It's great. And I'm doing it disservice by talking about it. Just go watch it. Plague of Grapes on YouTube.
Plague of Grapes. I shall write that down.
Grapes.
Gripes.
Like a grape. Like, I don't like that guy. I have grapes with.
It does sound a little bit that like you were putting on an Australian accent.
Plague
and you were trying to say plate of grapes.
Got this plate of grapes.
Yeah, that did you a disservice.
Yeah, my Australian's okay. It's not. It could be better.
Compared to.
Moving on.
Right.
Do you have much more? Because I don't have much more.
I do have more. I have two of our favourite people, actually. Dave Control Live.
Dave Control Live.
Dave. Dave. Yeah, firstly, there was a really funny moment a couple of weeks ago where I got back from work and I was eating my dinner, and I was watching a channel update where he gave us a shout out, and sort of totally unexpected. I was eating my pizza at the time, and I think my mouth fell open like Ren and Stimpy style. It was just like
hot cheese dribbling from your chin.
the TV has just talked about us, which is a terrible accent. But I rang you, and I was just like, Paddy, this is mental.
We're on telly.
So on the first instance, thank you very much for giving us a hello, because we've had a few folks that have found us since then. It's very much appreciated. And
welcome to all you new guys, by the way.
no, yes, hello. But yeah, it really caught me off guard, and it made me smile a lot. So, and I think it was a particularly harsh day at work, that one as well. So, thank you very much, Dave. Anyway, yeah, I mean, perhaps we might now seem like biased towards Dave's stuff, but the bars, as far as I'm concerned, the bar's already raised for his for anything he might do for Dark Souls 2, with regards to the stuff he's putting out in a minute. So currently there's a new vid detailing the lore of Manus, and for which you should watch the Terramantis video as well. Mm-hmm. They're both incredibly good. They paint more of a tragedy for the character, and again make me think a little bit deeper about Dark Souls. It makes me think of kind of the furtive pygmy that was broken, of a lost love in his heart, of clinging on to a pendant, the attachment that you might have had to Dusk of Ulasil, and who she might have, even in this broken, gargantuan, brutal state that he becomes, that as to what she represents or what he's lost. And it just made me sort of think, oh dear God, I'm I'm thinking out of the box again about Dark Souls. So there's some really good stuff there between those two videos.
If it makes you feel bad about killing someone, it's done well.
I just think it's there's this thing about Dark Souls where it seems that what would normally be a stock bad guy has usually got a story, and it's often a fine line between someone becoming a hero and a villain. And
I feel bad about killing Lautrec, for Christ's sake.
Well, I think we've painted the picture before that it's really sort of devotion to faith and religious fundamentalism with Lautrec. It's certainly not as snide as Petrus of Thurland, the hated Petrus of Thurland. So Dave's got interviews with Varty at the moment, who again is casting witchcraft on a camera and looking incredibly handsome. There's a discussion between them about both Dave and Varty's future stuff, and joking about nicking ideas off each other. Dark Souls producer Takamayazoe, I think it's pronounced that way, is interviewed as well. There's a Let's Play in Lost Izalith with something that I'd never noticed before.
Yeah.
Right. You go down into Lost Izalith. You've got the to your left-hand side. You've got all of those demons that appear at the first level, first bit of Underberg. The boss. Demons. Yeah, I couldn't think of the name. And then ahead of you, you've got a Capra. Mm-hmm. Right. Defeat the Capra. Go up the sort of steps, and you get to that bit where you're looking down, and you've got a row of Capras in front of you, all on that sort of level.
Yes.
And then eventually you can go further down. You've got more Taurus demons. Blah blah blah. If you get to that point where you've just got to the top of the stairs, and you're looking downwards at further steps, and then that row of Capras, if you turn to the right a bit and tilt the camera quite a bit down, you've got a ravine that's going down into lava, and you might not ordinarily even do this, so I don't know how he's found it, or if he found it off on the off chance or what, but holding on to that wall, clinging onto it, is the centipede demon.
What?
Yeah.
What? No.
This was another one where I was eating my dinner and kind of, food hit the plate again, or sort of at least an inconvenient sort of no.
We might have to cut this podcast short because I need to go see that.
Seriously, it's I was like, it's clinging on to the. How many times have I played this game, and how did I not notice that? That's just
Jeez.
bonkers. So yeah, and there's a Kingsfield Japan Let's Play on there as well. So I'm kind of curious as to how all the big guns are going to come out, sort of firing for Dark Souls 2. But yeah, there's some solid buttes.
There's going to be lots of content to choose from. There's going to be so much if you're out for it.
So another one that I was tipped the hand towards and hadn't watched until the final episode, and I'm really regretful that I hadn't watched it until this point. Was something that you watched with me last week because you jumped on the stream as well. A Sponge on Twitch was running something called Dark Souls Nights.
Oh God, yeah.
I had the tactic toward this by Woodfellow on Twitter, and essentially it was someone running through Dark Souls, having a really great playthrough of Dark Souls, but with Northern Soul music playing in the background. And it was noted afterwards that the kind of Dark Souls Knights persona sort of probably fell away after 20 hours when they just wanted to play the game, and they got really wrapped up in the game. But the stuff I was watching was just really addictive. There's some great songs on there. When something like you're sort of running through Ash Lake and this all heart of mine like kicks in, you're like, oh, I love this song.
Yeah.
So it was really, really good. And even after Alice finished her playthrough, everyone was like, new game plus. But it was a pleasure to watch that final ep. So I'm curious as to what the Dark Souls Knights persona was. I'm wondering if it was more of a kind of, because there was almost a degree of kind of poetry and inserting sort of little.
It was a bit beat poetry, and it was a little bit. It was a little bit jazz club.
Yeah, but I'm curious as to whether that was a stronger sort of stencil over the early parts or not. But I presume the previous episodes will be on Twitch. But it's A Sponge on Twitch. So I have to go back and watch those because I thoroughly enjoyed the episode that I watched, and it was so left of centre from any other playthrough that I've seen of Dark Souls. And I remember Woodfellow sort of saying it's really relaxing to watch, and I just wish I'd watched earlier ones because it was fantastic.
It was weird and funny.
Yeah, it was really quirky, and I'm hoping that if even another run of Dark Souls with a different kind of character, with so many great songs in the background and that fantastic beat poetry over the top. It was great. I'm talking myself into watching them after this, which is or at least going back to episode 1 to see what that contrast was. So
it made me wonder what other kind of songs would work with it. Like I'm a big fan of shit 80s action film soundtracks.
Okay.
The Rocky soundtrack, the Predator soundtrack, that sort of stuff. I think that would make for an empowered playthrough.
I tell you what this is doing. This is almost a call to arms to Chris Spann from the Recycle Bin podcast to do a playthrough of Dark Souls with the music from Transformers the movie in the background.
Oh,
because there were rumours last week that the Russians were going to be moved out of Chechnya by Chris Spann and I doing karaoke of the entire soundtrack to Transformers the movie at the Russians to push them back, and all of that sort of Tiananmen Square stuff with sort of the person standing in front of the tank. They weren't singing Instruments of Destruction by NRG, were they? No, but we would have been.
Yeah.
So I'd be up for that. But yeah,
finally
for today. Our boy Sunlight Blade, who has leapt out of a plane today, it appears, and I just imagine him doing a Praise the Sun.
He's praised the entire goddamn sky.
Yeah, I just imagine him doing a Praise the Sun as he leapt out of the plane, and then sort of everybody else, sort of when their parachutes were on the floor and they were trying to pick themselves up. There's just like this. I just imagine him covered in a parachute, but doing like, well, what is it? Just like that.
Two little hands sticking up out of nowhere.
That movement in an almost sort of cartoon style underneath the the parachute. But
I saw it the other way. I saw him jumping out at 16,000 feet for the greatest plunging attack that has ever been seen. 4 million damage.
And then he cuts to like this cow at the bottom, like, "Mrrr."
It just bursts.
Yeah, as he just shatters it with a bag of Haribo.
But yeah, congratulations, Sunlight Blade, on jumping out of the plane, you crazy, crazy fool.
But he's put out some fantastic videos these last few weeks as well. There was the top 10 faith kills,
top 10 creative
top 10
kills as
creative kills, yeah. Which once again made me realise, Ball's all about Dark Souls in the best way. I mean, I was watching on, and they're always entertaining vids, but seeing how people have put together those
weird PvP builds that build on things you wouldn't think. Like there was one that built on using the rings that up your defense and attack when your health is low.
Yeah.
And the whole build was about that. Like, what? Or,
just...
switching out invisible weapon switching and things. Like, I know how to make a build that can beat the game. I can't make a build that can beat a man in the way they can make a build that can beat a man.
Well, the Faith Kills one made me realise that I've really not gone into the faith stuff as much as I should have done.
Mm.
I'm sure I've always tried to balance that between magic and faith, and I've never really pushed it or used some of the spells in the way that they were used in those builds. But I'm always astonished by the level of creativity and how those people make the builds work as well.
I think my favourite was probably the person that cast Poison Mist, stepped back and then hucked the lightning spear through the mist.
Yeah,
brilliant, because you can't see it coming.
Yeah.
Oh, I was clapping.
They were really, really good. But also, let's not forget Rafter Wars.
Oh my God, Rafter Wars was incredible.
In Orlando, those rafters terrify me to walk on. I'm always trying to make myself as heavy as possible so I can take hits from swords and from crossbows, and so I won't fall off. But actually having a scrap on the top of them, no.
Havel's only final destination.
But it was another way that even all these years on, that the community's still showing creativity in how it can find new ways to fight, and the vid was something that I'd not seen before, and it was fantastic.
Making your own games.
So yeah, that's us done. We thought this was going to be a shorter podcast, and it probably is a
little bit. But, yeah.
Next week we're going to be doing a more Dark Souls 2 focused podcast, when sort of covering the different reviews that have come out and the hype and the launches and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there'll probably be something else that's going to be up on Tuesday. Just to tip the hat as well. Probably tomorrow, so that's Sunday the 9th. You go to CanaanRents.com, which is one of my favourite podcasts.
Also one of my favourites as well. You should all go listen to it. It's clever.
Canaan Rents basically is where a game's looked at critically from start to finish. Things it does right, the things it does wrong, the different opinions of those, but also perceptions from the public and the way the games sell. It's fantastic, and I was stupendously honoured to be part of the Demon Souls podcast. So that goes up on Sunday the 9th, I think. So it's CanaanRents.com.
That's tomorrow or today, depending on when you're listening to the podcast.
So, and there's also, as a bit of a tip of the hat towards next week, we mentioned Chris Spann and the Recycle Bin podcast.
Which is, just to explain, it's basically like Room 101, but for the video games.
Well, if America don't have Room 101, just a sort of people bringing forth 3 things that they dislike about video games and putting them to the host, which is Chris, and him arguing back as to whether they should go into Recycle Bin or not, and then the guest talking about something that they love to balance it out. But Chris is is working incredibly hard on doing a Dark Souls podcast with about 15-20 minutes of various people across the sort of indie podcasting and YouTube community across Blighty. He's got the likes of comedian and journalist Rab Florence on there. I'm recording for that tomorrow. Paddy's recorded for it. James Carter, who's been on here, has recorded for it. There's Dave Turner's of Joy Pod's done a piece, and I know Chris is particularly unwell at the moment, so he's working really hard whilst trying to put this together, and then stitch it all in a beautiful package for in time for Dark Souls release. So it's I don't doubt that's going to be a belting listen. So,
and what company as well? What company to be on a podcast with? I'm honoured to be in the same listen tubes as those people.
So that's going to be sort of coming up early next week as well. So on the Dark Souls 2 podcast, which will be up probably around Tuesday, we'll give a tip of the hat to where to find that and talk a little bit more about it. But thanks for listening. This has been the Dark Souls news. Obviously, there's been a little bit of cage rattling towards the start, but hopefully it's made you think out the box a bit. Interested to know your thoughts on that, so whack your thoughts on YouTube or send them on Twitter to @20Humanities, @CoffeeJesus with a Z in the middle of the Jesus, and @Paddy Stardust. And hopefully you're all dead excited about Dark Souls 2. You're going to be getting your copy sooner rather than later, and you've enjoyed the show.
Yeah, and shout outs to everyone we talk to on Twitter as well. You're too numerous to name, but you're all brilliant, cool guys, and we love you all.
Apart from that one guy. That one guy.
I hate that one guy, man.
My
that one
God.
guy sucks. But yeah, thanks again for listening to Humanities, and we shall catch you next time. With
In a few days' time.
With the review apocalypse.
Yes, that's a good one. Bye.
Bye. Do you have any intro? I don't really have an intro. I might be able to make one up on the spot, but I don't really have anything.
Bit of dead air.
Just dead air? Man, we could...
No, I mean, give me a bit of dead air.
Oh, I see. Demand it.
So, Dark Souls 2 is nearly here. Terrible, terrible, terrible Americans will have it on Tuesday.
Bastards!
Beautiful people in the EU, slaves to the draws of time.
Oppression.
Will have it on Friday. But this is a bit of... actually, all that was wank. We won't use that. Just go straight to the intro.
Yeah. We can do it better. Hang on.
Yeah.
Do it better.
I haven't really thought about an intro.
We can do that better. I can do it quickly. America, March the 11th. You lot are bastards. You get the game then. We over here in the best of you have to wait till the 14th, and we hate you for it. Roll credits.
No, I don't think that's it. I think we should just leap into... We've got to do something.
How about...
Let me try.
Okay, I've got one too. You go first.
All right. So, Dark Souls 2 is nearly here. Everybody's chomping at the bit to get new stuff out. And we've got lots of Souls news. And we're going to do another podcast next week with regards to all of Dark Souls reviews and the launch in America and the build-up to getting it over in Blighty. We're going to do loads of stuff on there. But we've got tons of news to chow down on. No, that was rubbish as well. I can't do it.
I've got one. I'm
dyslexic.
I got one. Okay. Massive game comes out next week. Massive game. But it's not giant robots. No, it's not giant robots. This isn't about giant robots punching each other. This is the challenge. This is the fear. This is the extreme. This is Dark Souls 2! Was that better?
I think you ended well, but the start was bit balls.
Bit walls, yeah.
Yeah. Dark Souls 2. Oh, shut up! It was
It's gonna be
my
longer than the
turn again.
podcast.
I'd got the stupid ball.
Okay, here's the ball. Take the ball.
Dark Souls 2 is nearly here. We have lots of new. No, that was just like Dark Souls 2 is nearly.
Okay, I've got it. Dark Souls 2 is nearly here. We have news, we have chat, we have discussions to have about all the Souls news. Listen along, we'll be doing lots this week because it's Dark Souls 2!
I still don't think we're quite there.
Damn, man, intros are hard.
No, I know.
Do you think we've peaked on intros?
I don't know. I think I've stepped up to the plate tonight with a degree of enforced depression. So I don't know, but
do you know what? I might just cut the funniest one of those out and just have us go. No, that's rubbish, isn't it? At the end.
Yeah, we could have an outtake section.
What the entire podcast?
Yeah, we could just have an outtake section.
It's going to be longer than the show.
Yeah, I know.